Greetings, Afterlifers, and welcome back to the podcast. And on this episode, we're here to talk about Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, released in 2004. Right. I have to say, I really enjoyed this game. I really did. Loved a lot of things about it, but also was critical about some other things. Well, basically, if you want to know the TLDR, it's my if you listen to my Silent Hill 4 the room review, then you know in that game I praised the story, the setting, everything but the gameplay. Here it's the same thing. However, though, instead of saying, hey, this element is awesome, this element just didn't show up. The gameplay element in Bloodlines really actually showed up here. However, though, it kind of 360'd itself. It kind of 360 no-scope itself. At the time, I thought it was just, the developer really kind of pushing a lot of RPG elements and all the things into the game that makes it an RPG. But really, apparently, this game was made by the team that was behind Fallout. Apparently, or at least that's what I've heard and read, at least, which makes a lot of sense because the stats really felt familiar to me when I was going through the game. I'm like, man, they're really stat heavy here. The only other game I could think of was Baldur's Gate 3, but well, that's and yeah, you could say, well, the Vampire and the Masquerade is a TTRPG. You would have to play the tabletop or any kind of tabletop to understand that part. Well, again, I don't play a whole lot of tabletop games. I only played like 1 or 2 sessions of D&D, and that was it. But the only other game I could think of was Fallout, and I'm like, interesting. Didn't know that. That's a really cool notation. If I'm wrong, then please feel free to correct me. Now the reason why I am critical of the gameplay is that the game, the first half of the game, so Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines is a social game, not in like a social hub room. You go in like, oh hey, I'm a vampire, hi. No, not that kind of game. It's a really heavy dialogue based game, really heavy with dialogue. And the dialogue is absolutely amazing. I mean, I may have not selected every single option or hear every option, but it's just so fascinating just how much time and detail they put into the dialogue, the possible outcomes, and like hell, depending on the vampire the clan you play as, you get buffers. Well, no, you don't get buffers. I mean, you get buffers anyway as a vampire, but like the dialogue is different. But the Malkavians, their dialogue is unique, right? And hell, one of the clan options is being a Nosferatu, which you have to really roleplay to hell and back to survive in the world of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline. And you might think, okay, so there's really no combat here. It's more it's talking, make the right choices, don't be an asshole, or be an asshole depending upon your preference. But there's also the combat. There's also the combat. It's like, okay, well, use your fists. You're a vampire. Well, no, there's more to it. There's also vampiric abilities. There is there's vampiric abilities. There is guns, melee weapons, magic. Yeah, you heard that right. So it's like, okay, so you say this. So what I'm hearing is, since you said, at least that's what I'm heard anyway, since you said this was made by the people who made Fallout, do I have to be very careful with my leveling up of my character? And the answer is yes. Because let me tell you, the second half of the game is utter bullshit, especially if you don't level up correctly. Because a lot of the enemies started, so the first half of the game, you hardly ever see magic, guns, and melee weapons. Or I mean, you see guns and melee weapons, but it's not everywhere as it is in the second half of the game, or at least in the third act of the game. And then when you get to that part, when you get to the second and third act of the game, they just really throw everything at you with guns, and melee and magic and all these things. And you're just like, oh my god, my character's so unprepared for this. Well, thankfully, if you play PC, you can turn on God mode and just go through this game, or at least survive that second, third game, that second, third act, because it really just goes. There's literally no more talking. It's all just you show up, raise hell, complete the objective, leave, or fight a boss, depending upon the situation. And there's more to it than just, you know, the social aspect and the stats and all that. There's also a punishment system. It will be a game over if you so in the world of Vampire the Masquerade, there is this thing called the Masquerade, and you have to keep up appearances. You have to make sure that the human world doesn't know about the vampire, the vampiric world, right? The kindred world. And if you decide to cause a lot of trouble, it's game over. If you lose, and there's also like this humanity system. I don't know if you can call this like the karma system. I guess you can call the Masquerade system the karma system. But basically, the humanity system is, you know, if you decide to be just a feral and aggressive with any human come in contact, if you lose all of your humanity, you're just a feral animal. The first human you see, you'll jump him, thereby risking the Masquerade, thereby giving you the strikes. You can work those strikes off, but it's few and far in between. So all choices from stats, what you say, and what you do in the Vampire the Masquerade world counts, which is amazing. I love that. But again, as I mentioned, if you don't level up correctly, you'll be throwing yourself into a corner when it comes to whatever aspect that you're slouching on. And it really showed in that second and third half, that second and third act. Like that final push to the ending, it felt like I was playing Max Payne, but with vampires. And if you know what the third act is in Max Payne, then you know that, oh my god, it was bullet hell, because there were bullets flying everywhere from all kinds of guns. And apparently there was and it doesn't help that, again, if you don't level up correctly, a lot of the enemies you come across are bullet sponged, you know? And when it's all said and done, it's still the same game. Nothing, I mean, depending on the choices, right? But ultimately, there's an outcome depending upon the choices you make, and so on and so forth. But again, the game's core strengths are who you want, the clan system. Each clan has their own particular set of abilities and perks and strengths and all that stuff, and also the stats, because the stats really do play a part in how you survive in the world of Bloodlines. But it's also a detriment, especially if you play it like a modern RPG. You have to figure out, if you're playing a strength build clan character, then focus on their strengths, right? Literally focus on making sure that this vampire is a tank. It's a absolute unit going into a lot of these combat portions. Is the game jank? Yeah, the game is jank. I mean, this was released in 2004, and it does have some issues. Thankfully, I didn't have any crashes, but some things don't work very well. Well, not very well. It just they either bug out, glitch out, or don't work at all, which requires an official patch, which I highly do recommend. In fact, I will link the official patch in the description of the YouTube video anyway. But basically, you can look it up. Just type in Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline unofficial patch, and then there you go. Because it does fix a lot of issues, a lot of line issues, and so on and so forth. But I really enjoyed this game. I'm really glad I got a chance to play this game. I will be reacting and covering Bloodlines 2, and I say that in very heavy quotations, because yikes, I have a lot to say about Bloodlines 2, and it's a game I haven't even gotten yet. And I want to react to that gameplay trailer and talk about how, well, if you've been following the news surrounding Bloodlines 2, then it's no secret why many people are hating the game at the moment, and for very right reasons. Yeah, so if you enjoy this episode of the podcast, talking about Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, then leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're listening on Spotify, give the episode a like. Be on the lookout for that reaction video. As I react to Bloodlines 2 and talk about all the faults with it and so on and so forth. And I'll catch you all on the next one. Bye bye.